All right, I think we're ready to start. Is it about like 5 minutes past 11 or something? And I said to everyone, we're going to start sharp. Well, that's my version of sharp. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our Women Will Speak event. My name is Michelle. I'm co-founder of Women's Action Group, and we are here today to say that men can never be women. Lesbians do not do dick. Pardon the expression. Transitioning children is abuse. And no child is ever born in the wrong body. The very notion is insane. Now, after that little intro, I just think we better do some housekeeping. So now, everyone, I think we're not to block the footpath. Thank you. It is a thoroughfare. You can go through. Now, you're more than welcome to come sit on the steps if you like, or stand. We are live streaming today to our Women's Action Group YouTube channel. So the camera is just to my right. So if you could just make sure you don't block the vision, that'd be wonderful. Now, the premise of our events is very, very simple. We facilitate a platform, as we are today, to let women speak about the dangers of gender identity ideology. We make no bones about the fact. We understand that there are people in this world that do have mental distress, mental illness, and we support them. We support their right to seek help that is available to them. But when we say help, we don't mean instant affirmation. We don't mean we believe that children can diagnose themselves. It's the one condition that children are allowed to diagnose themselves with. They can't go into the doctors and say, oh, I'm feeling a bit ill today, I think I've got cancer. And the doctor doesn't go, yes, you have. You do have cancer, without having any thorough investigation. Now, in the state of Victoria, we have sex self-ID laws, and we also have the conversion therapy laws as well. They're in place. Now, these laws are in place for a tiny minority of people. Mind you, there is a group that piggybacks off them. So it is confusing, but we are very, very clear about our stance on all of it. Women's rights are being peeled back in the name of so-called transgender ideology, and we do not agree.
No, Rick, we do not agree. No.
Now, we do not believe that biological sex is real. We know it is. We acknowledge the reality of biological sex and the fact that it is important. And it is important for so many reasons in our society that now we are having men, I'm looking at you, Canada, 50-year-old men saying that they actually not only identify as female but identify as teenage girls and therefore are allowed to play in their sports teams.
And change in their changing rooms.
Change in their changing rooms.
Naked in their changing
It is unethical and we will not allow it.
You predators!
Now, I did forget, I apologise, I forgot to pay my respects to the traditional owners, the Wurundjeri people of the Gunya Nation, but I also want to welcome everyone here today. Okay, on that note, who would like to be our first speaker? Do you want to? Yeah. I'll swap you.
Hello everyone, I'm Bev MacArthur, for those of you who don't know me, the Upper House member for Western Victoria region. And I can't believe on this beautiful day in November, in this city, which is beautiful but was the most locked down city in the world, we are having to support and promote and stand up for women's rights. It's extraordinary. I would have thought that debate was well and truly over, and we have all the virtue signalling of having women get equal pay and equal directorships and everything else. But now we're in a difficult situation where women don't have their own space. That is appalling, in my view, and I certainly was involved in the motion that Maura Deeming put up, which was to ensure that we had an inquiry in our chamber that would have identified the merits or otherwise of the affirmation model in Victoria, which is the only way anybody that has or thinks they have gender dysphoria can be treated. And I think for children and adolescents to be put in this situation, and for the medical practitioners and the parents to be exposed in this way, is not right. We've got to change it. We have to have a situation where children's safety comes first, children's health comes first. This is a health issue, and I'm totally opposed to the fact that in Victoria we have this affirmation model which is not helpful to, I would have thought, children and adolescents who may have a myriad of other issues and need more help than less, with psychological issues and maybe home issues, who knows. I know of some detransitioners who've felt they were misdiagnosed and now paying the price for it. I think that is criminal, and we have to revisit this whole thing so that we do not go down this path any further. So well done for everything you're doing in standing up for women, children, adolescents, those people who've having to go through an extraordinary battle of detransitioning. It's a terrible situation, and I'm with you all the way. So whatever I can do, I'll keep doing. I might be a bit of a lone voice, but you know, I'm a voice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I should have mentioned before. Actually, we are so grateful that Bev MacArthur has agreed to sponsor our e-petition. If you want to have a look, it is an e-petition. It's actually number 512. Remember that, for the Legislative Council, asking for an independent inquiry into gender identity services for young people. And for good reason, as Bev said, we now have, young people who transitioned, there's no such thing, but anyway, transitioned, who are medicalised, surgicalised in a few cases, and they regret it. That kind of harm you cannot undo. It is irreversible. Just like the puberty blocking medicine that the Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital has been giving out like lollies. You know, in the last 10 years, the Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital has seen a 1,100% increase in children to their gender clinic. Wonder why that is. Wonder why it's not right. Follow the money. If you haven't already, make sure you check out Jennifer Bilek, her amazing work on this issue, who runs this propaganda, the agenda. I don't know, that'll shock you, but yeah, it is pretty profound. 11th Hour blog. Make sure you look her up. She's amazing. Okay, who would like to go next? Are you okay to come up?
Oh. My name's Sonia. I'm a disabled woman. Previous speaker aside, too many people in this building hate women. We tell them we don't want men in our spaces, and we don't care what those men call themselves, and they don't listen to us. Our voices mean nothing. The crimes that men commit against us mean nothing. Successive governments, but particularly this Andrews government, have hated women. Women cannot achieve equality or safety or anything approaching equity in a world where they are for sale. This government is responsible for the trafficking of women for the sex industry into Victoria. This government is responsible for the removal of safe spaces for women and children. This government is responsible for the medical harm that they have overseen. We will hold them responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
We are on the right side of history. Time will show us to be right. We will judge them harshly. We will demand consequences, and we will make it happen, because we are more than half of all humans. We fought for these spaces. We stand on the shoulders of our foremothers, and we will not squander the work that they did on our behalf. Thank you.
Excellent. Who would like to go next? Who would like to go next?
Come on, Jasmine. Yay, Jasmine. Yay, Jasmine.
Thanks, Michelle, and thanks, everyone. Happy birthday to WAG. It's amazing to be here back on Parliament steps, and amazing that it's been a year that you've been running these events, Michelle, and everyone else in WAG and Bev. Thank you so much. Michelle, I'd also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri, whose lands we're meeting on here today, and in particular to pay my respects to all the mothers, aunties and grandmothers who've birthed on this country since time began. When I became a mother in 2004, it was a beautiful day like this, and I was very high on the birth happy hormones. And so when my daughter arrived, I was kind of lost for sensible words, and I just kept saying over and over again, baby, baby, baby. And my husband thought perhaps all the time I'd spent in the hot tub had gone to my head. So he helped me out by announcing the name we'd chosen for our baby girl. Just quietly, I already knew it was a girl, but anyway. So becoming a mother was undoubtedly the making of me as a woman, and I want other mothers to feel the invincibility that can come to us as women. I'm here, as some of you know, because I got myself sacked and expelled by the Australian Breastfeeding Association after 17 years of service. And, you know, who would have guessed all those years ago as a new mum that the ABA would fall under the spell of a gender cult that thinks it's a good idea for teenage girls to have their breasts cut off if they hate their female bodies. How this happened, I believe, is about the power of mothers who think they genuinely believe they're doing the right thing for their children. In Victoria, it was a branch president with a teenage child who was experiencing cross-sex ideation, and a trainee counsellor who together seduced the ABA to the gender dark side. The young trainee counsellor trusted the doctors right here at our Royal Children's Hospital that the daughter she birthed was in fact a boy. And when her distressed little preschooler persisted in saying she was a boy, her mother agreed to socially transition her at the age of 4. Another mother, me, entered the story in February 2000 at the annual Ballarat Breastfeeding Conference, where the first mother shared with us that she would be transitioning her 4-year-old, and that she was at the gender clinic that day who advised her to do just that. I was the only counsellor who questioned the wisdom of her doctor's advice, and for my trouble, I received a formal complaint from this mother for a breach of the code of ethics in the ABA. Apparently, I made her feel unsafe with my views. So 2.25 years later, this dangerous idea, which had fermented in this mother's mind, had infected the entire leadership of the Breastfeeding Association. And my opposition to it led to the board expelling me from the association as a member. Unfortunately, it didn't end there, and the mother was still enraged with me for questioning the wisdom of her telling lies to her child. And so when I spoke about my sacking to the media, and I confirmed the existence of a trans preschooler in the Victorian Australian Breastfeeding Association. This mother flew into a rage and sent the media coverage to our children's primary school principal in Ringwood. So yeah, obviously she was trying to get me sacked or cancelled again. Didn't work out too well for her that time. This is the power of mothers to move medico-legal mountains to make their choices, their lies to their children be true. As Helen Joyce explained in her excellent book Trans, which if you haven't all read, we must all read, it's mothers like these, like Susie Green from Mermaids in the UK, and like Rebecca Stone from Transcend right here in Melbourne, who are never going to admit that they have physically and psychologically abused their children. I see the poor little ABA girl with her crew cut around my neighbourhood quite a lot, and she looks so sad. And I just think we all need to ask ourselves, what chance does she have, trans by her mother at the age of 4, of going through a healthy, unmedicated puberty and learning to love herself just as she is? Thanks.
Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you for saying happy birthday. I forgot to mention that. It's our 1-year anniversary today of, this month of holding these Speakers Corner events. Actually, and at our first one, Bev McArthur was here too to support us. So very, very pleased she's back again. Okay, who would like to go next? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll swap you.
It's all right. I'm all sorted.
Are you? No? Right. Oh.
There we go. Hi everybody, I'm Carol and I'm here to talk on behalf of lesbians. I'm part of the Lesbian Action Group that put in for the exemption. We wanted to hold a gathering for lesbians to celebrate International Lesbian Day. We applied to the Pride Centre and they refused our booking because we were being discriminatory and not being very nice, because we wanted to exclude everyone but lesbians who were born female. We then applied to the Human Rights Commission for an exemption so that we could legally do that. And after a long process, the Human Rights Commission refused our application because we would be discriminating against men who say they are lesbian. They acknowledged that we could exclude straight men. They acknowledged that we could exclude straight women. They acknowledged that we could exclude gay men. But we were being very nasty for wanting to exclude straight men who think they're women, and because they're straight men, they're attracted to women, and therefore, when they think they're women, they also think they're lesbian. And
Bloody predators! Idiots!
now lesbians, by choice, do not often want to hang out with men. Many do, they have them in their family, etc., and that's fine. But when we gather together as lesbians, we want to do that without men. Now, the Australian Human Rights Commission has said we can't do that. Not only did they do that though, they said in their denial, they said in their denial that sex is not binary, which means, of course, that there must be a third or a fourth or a fifth or a sixth or however many sexes the Human Rights Commission is going to allow. And they said also that people can change sex over their lifetime. These are the people that are governing us. These are the people who are making the laws. These are the people who are telling us what we can and cannot do. They are bonkers. Anyway, we got that out into the open. It's there. It's in black and white. Everybody can see it. Hopefully, some others are going to run with that ridiculous decision and do something about it. The Lesbian Action Group asked, we're going to keep going. We're going to find all sorts of cunning ways to get around this, and we're not going to give up, I'll tell you. So lesbians want our own space, and that's what we're going to get.
Men can't be lesbians.
No, men can't be lesbians. Of course they can't. You just got to laugh sometimes. It's
Absolutely.
what sort of a TV comedy are we in, really? Okay, that's me, and thank you everybody for coming out.
Thank you so much, Carol. Here we go. Really, really glad to hear that Lesbian Action Group is going to continue with the fight. That's awesome. I just want to quickly just say, just back to children again, children are the most vulnerable demographic in society. I don't know why anyone would ever think that their children can magically change sex. That makes no sense whatsoever. And then medicalising them and then surgicalising them as well, butchery, only to find out that it's all a lie. It's an absolute lie. Who would like to go next? Actually, I should have said, if anyone wants to talk off camera, they can go down there. Anyone want to talk? I'm happy to swap holding signs. No? All right. And do you want to talk? If someone else wants to talk, yeah? I can swap you. I'll swap you. Oh. No worries. They just stand right now. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to talk. Secondly, I didn't prepare anything to say, but broadly speaking, I'd like to speak about the effect of genderism itself as a type of ideology that's forced on all of us that we have to believe. Obviously there is sex and there are roles according to sex and there's variation in that, and that's all fine. But genderism itself seems to be a way of deconstructing adversely just like the normal way that we should see society and that. So to me it seems like it's pushed from a very high level, higher than government, and like what Jennifer Bielik talks about, it's primarily to a high degree run by money and a way of power, really. As Douglas Murray talks about, it's all boils down to power. So even though obviously the rights of women and children are being trampled on. I think the rights of each of us, including those in the government, the police, people who have no idea what's happening at a legislative and legal level, the substitution of the word sex for gender and how we're unable to speak freely about it. In a lot of ways, people are losing their jobs. People are losing friends if they don't comply. And it's a fundamental threat. It's a threat or fundamental threat to the foundation of our society, based on, Western society. I know it's got its flaws. However, generally speaking, it's a strong and free type of society, and it's being severely threatened by this obscure cult. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Juanita, and last time I came up on these steps of Parliament to speak, my world has been ripped apart. I have lost friends, I've lost family, they've turned their backs on me and my husband, and the Greyhound Rescue Group that I helped found with my husband also turned their backs on us and forced us to resign. And yet what we're doing is standing up for women's and girls' sex-based rights in order for us to have safe spaces. For a long time throughout history, women have been fighting for our rights to be respected in public, and yet now these same women that used to fight, some of them have turned their backs on us and are now turning and saying we don't need our safe spaces anymore. And yet predatory men still exist, men that want to harm us still exist, and the whole point of having female-only spaces is when we need them, we need them. And for them to turn around and tell us we don't need them anymore is absolutely appalling. We need to be able to be in a safe space where we're free from men. And it is not acceptable for our government to tell us that we don't need safe spaces anymore. These men that want to harm us haven't magically disappeared. It's actually gotten worse. And we're all seeing it online of what's happening to us. And we need more women and we need more men to step up and stand up for the rights of 51% of the world's population, because that's what we are, and we're being silenced, we're being removed in society of our rights, and basically at the end of the day, if you control the woman, you control the world. Why? And my biggest question I ask people is, why does our government want to sterilise children? Why does our government want young girls to get their breasts cut off? It doesn't make sense. So we need to speak up. We're allowed to speak up. We're allowed to say no if we don't agree with something. That's what democracy is, what our forefathers fought for, was for us to have the right to speak. And our government's taking that away from us, and that's not okay.
Okay, I just want to pick up on a point. Oh, thank you. I just want to pick up on a point. Okay, so I don't know if any of you know who WPATH is, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. And you know what they were promoting not so long ago, and they still do, for children? Take a guess. Yes, that's right. Eunuch is a gender identity. Why would they be promoting the gender identity, so-called gender identity, of a eunuch? When you think about the surgeries, no woman can ever be a man, no man can ever be a woman, no matter what bits you chop off, what things are made in place that are faux. It's quite upsetting when you think about it, especially for children. You are really taking away their entire lives. How dare you? How dare you, Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital, which is the biggest gender clinic here in this country. Shame. Yeah. Shame. Okay, I think I've had my spares now. Did you want to? Yes.
Hi everybody, I'm Louise. This is amazing, standing on the steps of Parliament. having women come and almost, why are we even here? We're here, had to train people to help keep us safe, where it wasn't that long ago where people actually knew the reason why we had domestic violence shelters. There was a reason for that. Women fought really, really, really hard to convince people that that sort of thing was required. I believe the police are also having to be trained to understand domestic violence situations, and yes, we know sometimes it happens to men, but we're talking about women. Women are fighting the entire time to feel safe, just as we are today. And the sign that I've got in front of me, I live in Ballarat, and one young person felt that she had the right to come and, because she told me that men can be, people can be anything these days, and I said, well, no, they can't. There are a few swear words in there, but I'm not going to say those. And she absolutely went ballistic. She had her arm, one half of her arm in plaster. She proceeded to smack me over the head with her plastered forearm. I was pretty much, I must have the hardest head, seriously. But police came. I'm still waiting to hear if this young woman has been charged with aggravated assault. I had tension in an ambulance. Now, that was nearly 2 weeks ago. And I think it's probably pretty reasonable to expect that someone who does that to someone else can expect to be charged fairly quickly. They know who this person is. I want to know when she's going to be charged. We will go to court because I believe that there's a Rainbow Advisory Council in Ballarat who are saying, stay away from people like me who say apparently really, really unsafe things like men will never be women. And up until not that long ago, it was okay to say this. Now, gee, why can't we say it now? Because men have decided that they want to be included in the category of women. Well, the fact is they can't. They're men. They're a category of men, right? They don't get to have our words. Women have a female language, and if that makes them feel awful, unsafe, too bad. Get help. It's not our problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. If I were you, I'd be chasing that up.
I will be.
Yeah, awesome. We just had a comment from a passerby saying that the dictionary definition of a woman, and that is adult human female, is unhelpful. How the hell is that unhelpful? Anyway, who would like to go next? Come on up.
Hi everyone, I'm Fiona. Thank you for the chance to speak, as well as being a marshal today. I was there a year ago at the very first WAG Speakers Corner, and that's where I met everyone and had my first contact with the movement, and I'm still here. I'm proud to be here. I wanted to talk a little bit about aged care. I'm not an expert and I haven't worked in it, but back in June or July, whichever one Pride Month officially was, although it's the whole year now, I went and visited my grandmother at her nursing home, as I used to do every week until she passed. And she's not there anymore, so I'm going to name them. Regis East Malvern, that's REGIS, in East Malvern, aged care facility. The lifestyle team, I found when I walked in, had decorated the whole ground floor for Pride. Now, they like to decorate for Christmas and all the rest, and that's lovely, but and these were not just some poxy, colourful streamers that they'd gone and picked up at the supermarket. These had clearly been provided by head office, so I imagine they'd done all the branches in this way because it's a chain nursing home. They were big cardboard hearts with the rainbow and the chevron thing on them, fabric rainbow flags hanging over their cafe area, and love is love round the banisters everywhere. I've had previous run-ins with this place and have had very choice words to say to them over a manner of other issues. I did keep my mouth shut this time because my grandmother was dying and I was actually very worried about what the repercussions might be for her if I actually, caused a problem. But I did take photos and publish their name and the photos online at the time. So hopefully people saw that and you're seeing it now. And I think it just goes to show that I was naive, and I think a lot of us are naive to the fact that this does have its hooks in the aged care system and aged medicine as well. So anyone watching who has your relatives, your mothers, friends in aged care facilities, please check, go and talk to them, see what they're putting out there, because when they put this stuff out there, they are basically advertising the fact that they give no shits about protecting female residents or staff, and that they are not acknowledging the reality of biological sex, which has relevance and importance to every aspect of a person's care, every single thing. This is an issue that has its hooks in across the lifespan. They are not going to be satisfied until they get every person of every age. There is talk from TRAs and proponents of trans ideology that they can detect transgenderism in the womb. Literally from the womb to the tomb, they want to capture people. So, as I said, look at the nursing homes that your relatives are staying in and talk to the staff. Thank you.
Thank you so much. No? Well, if no one else wants to speak, I think we can wrap it up there, because we did want to get out of here earlier. So, did you want to say something? Yeah, come on. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Michelle, you can't shut me up, but I just wanted to talk about some of the women who betrayed us in this town. Some of the human rights lawyers, alleged human rights lawyers who've betrayed us in this town. So Kate Jenkins, shout out to Kate, our former Sex Discrimination Commissioner, who actually went to Tintern, which is where my daughter went as well. Interestingly, the motto of Tintern is deeds, not words. So, which is the suffragette motto of England. So, yeah, she is obviously an abject traitor to all women, and she should hand in her AO because she hasn't earned it, that's for sure. I'd also like to shout out to all the ministers for women since Fiona Richardson, who was the last great minister for women in Victoria who actually knew what a woman was and knew that male violence against women was perpetrated by men, and that men who say they're women are still perpetrating male violence against women. And I'd also just like to illustrate with one example of how, I won't swear because I'm in public, but completely insane the human rights industry is in this area. So Kate Jenkins and the new Sex Discrimination Commissioner, Dr. Cody, who's completely bonkers, put in a submission in favour of Roxy Tickle against our friend Sal Grover in the federal court case. And in that submission, these two insane faux human rights lawyers said that men who believe they are women are entitled to, sorry, it's hard to get the words out, entitled to pregnancy discrimination because, get this, one of the subclauses in pregnancy discrimination is that women, actual women, that's us, can't be discriminated against because they desire to be pregnant. So this is a scenario, as has happened to me and probably other women, when you're interviewed And they know they're not allowed to ask you if you're planning on having a baby, even though you're in child-rearing, age. But they might ask you if you have any special plans or, what are your hopes and dreams for the next 5 to 10 years? And they're not allowed to ask you that question, but the reason they're not allowed to ask you is because I think it's clause E says you can't be discriminated against because you desire to become pregnant and a mother in the future. And anyway, so Kate Jenkins and Dr. Anna Cody reckons that because insane men reckon they're women and want to have a baby and be pregnant, that therefore it applies to them as well. So this is what we're up against. Thanks.
Thank you, Jasmine. Total nuttery is what we're up against. I think we'll wrap it up there. We did have to move our event forward an hour and a half from its original time, purely because there is another big protest march in town today, and we just didn't want to, clash. So thank you so much to the organising team, that's Jess and Lou. Thank you so much to all the marshals. Really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much to everyone who came along, everyone who spoke, everyone who didn't speak. And just for the record, ABC, next time you write a ridiculous hit piece about us, our events are by invite only. We do not publicly advertise our events because for some ridiculous reason, people go nuts when we say that men can never be women. Say it with me. Men can never be women. And again, men can never be women. One more time. Men can never be women. Thank you and enjoy your day. Thanks, Jess.
First floor.